Few things are as chilling as the idea of a bottomless black hole stretching into infinity. In eastern Washington, a mysterious pit known as Mel's Hole is rumored to be endlessly deep. Experts once sent a drone 1,000 meters down, only to discover something inexplicable that left everyone who saw the footage terrified. What did they witness that scarred them for life? Let's delve into the depths of what might be the deepest hole on Earth. Located in eastern Washington, Mel's Hole is said to be bottomless, according to those who have tried to explore its depths. It was discovered by Mel Waters, the landowner, who became fascinated by its seemingly infinite depth. No matter how much junk was thrown into it, the hole never filled up. Cameras lowered into the pit captured only blurry, puzzling images, leaving everyone who saw them baffled. Situated on Manastash Ridge near Ellensburg, the hole resembles a well but serves no purpose for drawing water. Over time, it became a dumping ground for the community, where everything from household trash to broken cars and old tires was discarded. Yet, the hole's capacity to absorb waste never diminished, sparking Mel's curiosity about its true depth and contents. Animals in the area, particularly dogs, were visibly disturbed by the hole, refusing to go near it and showing signs of fear whenever they approached. Mel also noticed strange disruptions in radio signals when he was close to the hole, adding to its eerie reputation. The depth of the hole became a source of fascination not only for Mel but for many others who heard about it. In 2017, researchers lowered a camera into the hole to learn more. The footage was unclear but deeply unsettling, prompting them to leave quickly and further cementing the hole's ominous reputation. Using fishing gear, Mel attached a weight to a line and began lowering it into the pit. After releasing 4,500 feet of line, he still hadn't hit bottom. Undeterred, he switched the weight for a pack of Lifesavers candy, thinking that if there was water at the bottom, the candy would dissolve. However, the candy came back up dry, prompting him to use even more line. Eventually, he had let down nearly 2 miles of line without reaching the bottom. In a remarkable display of persistence, Mel extended his experiment to 880,000 feet of fishing line, over 166 miles, and still, the bottom remained elusive. The hole's peculiarities didn't end with its depth. The surrounding area was eerily quiet, devoid of birds or insects, though birds seemed to fly over it without issue. Neighbors reported that their dogs behaved similarly, showing anxiety and refusing to approach the hole. One neighbor even claimed that his dead dog, which he had thrown into the hole, reappeared alive days later, though it seemed unrecognizable and distant. Despite numerous attempts to uncover the truth about Mel's Hole, its nature remains a mystery. Frustrated and intrigued by the growing legends surrounding it, Mel turned to the popular late-night radio show Coast to Coast AM *, hosted by Art Bell, which specialized in paranormal and unexplained phenomena. Mel hoped the show's diverse audience might offer insights or theories about the strange occurrences linked to the hole. As stories of Mel's Hole spread, they sparked a mix of skepticism and fascination, highlighting humanity's enduring attraction to unresolved mysteries. In late February 1997, Mel found himself in the spotlight after calling into Art Bell's show to share details about the deep hole on his property. The call not only introduced the world to his discovery, but also attracted unexpected attention. As the story spread, listeners from around the globe offered suggestions on how to measure its depth using lasers or explore it with radar technology. However, the more the story gained traction, the more unwanted attention it drew. The morning after his broadcast, Mel was shocked to find that he was barred from his own property. The military had taken over, claiming they needed to investigate a supposed plane crash, though no wreckage or evidence of a crash was found. With military helicopters overhead and armed personnel on the ground, Mel's life took a dramatic turn. The hole itself seemed to have strange effects. Animals avoided it, but plants thrived, radios malfunctioned, picking up broadcasts from years past. Mel's interactions with the military were tense, with vague threats about his land ownership and hints of illegal activities, all seemingly designed to intimidate him. As the story continued on the radio, Mel shared tales from neighbors who claimed to see strange phenomena, like a dark beam of light shooting upward from the hole. These accounts, though never directly confirmed by Mel, were eagerly embraced by the show's audience, who were already familiar with other strange occurrences in the area, such as UFO sightings and unexplained disappearances. Theories about the hole's true nature ran wild. Some believed it was a gateway on a mystical ley line, while others speculated it was an entrance to another world within the Earth. These speculations grew as more people chimed in with their ideas, including references to ancient stone pillars that once surrounded the hole. What happens next will surprise everyone. Despite the growing public fascination, Mel's situation became increasingly difficult. His openness on the radio may have attracted too much government attention. He continued to provide updates and new details on the show, which seemed to serve two purposes: keeping listeners hooked and inadvertently informing the authorities about his activities. When Mel suddenly stopped appearing on the radio just before a scheduled update, speculation ran rampant. He later resurfaced with a story about being offered a large sum of money to give up his land and move to Australia, with strict conditions to stop discussing the hole and leave the US. He accepted the deal and moved, but his longing for home eventually brought him back quietly to visit his family, showing he couldn't fully let go of his past. This extended tale, filled with bizarre events and dramatic twists, often seemed too extraordinary to be true. It played into the hands of those who enjoy spinning conspiracy theories and tales of cover-ups. Whether Mel's hole was a significant discovery or simply an ordinary hole that gained fame through public fascination and an exaggerated military response remains debated. What's clear is that the truth behind Mel's story is as elusive as the supposed depths of the hole itself. Mel had planned to return to Art Bell's show to share more of his recent experiences, but his day took a bizarre turn. While traveling by bus to visit his nephew, a heated argument broke out among the passengers, escalating to the point where police intervention was required. After questioning, everyone was moved to a different bus. Just as things seemed to calm down, Mel suddenly passed out. He woke up disoriented in an alley in San Francisco, with no memory of the past 12 days. His wallet was missing, and he found several needle marks on his arm, suggesting he had undergone some kind of medical procedure. He also noticed that some of his back teeth were gone and could taste blood in his mouth. Trying to make sense of what had happened, Mel found himself entangled in legal troubles. He was accused of illegally constructing buildings, houses and roads on his property. However, Mel was confused because his land had been occupied by the government for the past 2 years. Despite his protests, he ultimately lost his property. When Mel tried to return to Art Bell's show, he discovered that all his money had vanished from his bank account. Some began to accuse him of fabricating his story, but Art Bell, ever intrigued by the unusual, invited him back on the show anyway. During his second appearance, Mel spoke about a TV crew that had attempted to find his hole but failed, noting significant military activity in the area. The airspace above his land had become restricted, and satellite images showed a black square where his property should have been. This image appeared online 6 months after Mel first spoke to Art Bell, making it impossible for him to have based his story on it. Things took another turn when a Native American tribe from Nevada contacted him. They had heard about his troubles and believed he could help them with a similar situation they were investigating. This second hole, located in a public area where the Basque people lived, was about the same size as Mel's hole, 9 feet across, but had a metal ring around it instead of stone. The metal felt warm to the touch and seemed to absorb sound, as Mel discovered when he accidentally dropped a tool into it. Mel and the Basque people began experimenting with the hole, starting by lowering a bucket filled with ice. This led to even more questions as they tried to understand the hole's unusual properties. As they conducted tests, Mel felt a mix of excitement and unease about what they might uncover. As Mel continued to work with the tribe and the Basque people, he learned more about their culture and their deep connection to the land. They discussed the historical significance of the hole and speculated about its origins and purpose. These conversations revealed the complexity of the situation and the various interpretations and beliefs held by the locals. Throughout this process, Mel's skepticism was challenged by the physical evidence and the testimonials of those who had known about the hole for generations. This collaboration not only provided insights into the hole's peculiarities but also allowed Mel to connect with people who, despite their different backgrounds, shared his curiosity and determination to uncover the truth. Together, they planned further explorations and more elaborate experiments, hoping to understand not only the physical nature of the hole but also its significance in the broader context of their respective histories and cultures. As they delved deeper, the project grew, attracting more attention and participation from the community, turning Mel's once isolated incident into a collective endeavor that bridged historical, cultural, and scientific interests. Now, things get even stranger. They lowered ice into the hole, reaching a depth of about 1,000 feet, while keeping some ice above ground for comparison. When the surface ice had melted, they retrieved the bucket from below and found that the ice inside remained intact, warm, and completely dry, resembling salt more than ice. When they attempted to melt this unusual ice with a flame, it caught fire instead and continued to burn for months. This strange behavior was inconsistent. They repeated the experiment several times with varying amounts of ice. Sometimes the ice melted as expected, but other times it turned into this flammable substance. Then, someone from the Basque group suggested a risky idea. Why not explore the hole themselves? However, safety concerns led them to abandon the idea and instead lower a sheep into the hole. Getting the sheep into the hole was no easy task. The animal seemed to sense something was wrong and resisted being placed into the box. Despite its reluctance, the team managed to secure it and lowered the box down to 1,000 feet. Suddenly, the rope stopped, and a strange humming sound filled the air, making the moment even more unsettling. They left the sheep in the hole for about half an hour. When they pulled the box back up, everything seemed normal at first. However, upon closer inspection, they found that the sheep was dead. The discovery was shocking and deeply unsettling. They opened up the sheep to examine its insides and found something disturbing. The organs appeared to have been cooked, and a large tumor occupied most of the animal's body. Then, the tumor began to move on its own. As if the situation wasn't bizarre enough, when they cut open the tumor, they found something resembling a baby seal connected by what looked like an umbilical cord, but with unmistakably human eyes. This creature, covered in a slimy substance and smelling like the air after a storm, seemed aware of its surroundings. The group watched as the creature slowly moved to the edge of the table. It seemed to share an unspoken understanding with them as it looked at them one last time before jumping back into the hole. The hole appeared to be more than just a gap in the earth. It was a portal to phenomena that defied normal understanding, challenging their perceptions of what lies beneath us. Before this episode in Nevada, Mel had been dealing with a serious health issue. He had been diagnosed with throat cancer and told his time was limited. However, after returning from this strange journey, something incredible happened. Mel was no longer sick. He felt better than he had in years and believed that his encounter with the seal-like creature had healed him. This experience transformed Mel, making him feel as though he had entered a different world and returned as a changed person. As the radio show episode concluded, the host cautioned the audience. The path to where Mel had his unusual encounter was still accessible, but everyone was strongly advised not to attempt to find it. The host warned that searching for this place could lead to strange and frightening situations, including the risk of disappearing into the unknown. This cautionary note added a serious tone to Mel's fantastical story, blending intrigue with a hint of danger. A few months later, Mel returned to Coast with even more to share, particularly about the strange experiments involving ice that seemed to burn indefinitely. In one incident, a Basque man tried to use this ice to stay warm by bringing it into his cabin. The results were beyond anything he could have imagined. These accounts, whether real or well-crafted tales, continued to captivate listeners, feeding their fascination with the unexplained. Skeptics might view Mel's stories as fabrications or exaggerations designed for entertainment, but for those who prefer to believe that the world holds more than what we see, these tales provided comfort and excitement. Listeners were encouraged to ponder the meaning of Mel's experiences. Was there truly a healing force at work, or was it the power of the human mind to heal itself, driven by belief in something extraordinary? The conversations sparked by Mel, blending curiosity and doubt, highlighted how unexplained events can deeply influence our thinking and our enduring attraction to the unknown. The burning ice was an unusual phenomenon that lasted for months. It didn't melt but seemed to absorb all moisture from the surrounding air, drying out everything in the cabin. This caused significant discomfort for the inhabitant, who suffered from extremely dry skin and constant thirst. Even boiling water became a challenge, as the steam was quickly drawn into the flames as if magnetically attracted. This bizarre scenario escalated from inconvenient to outright strange. The intense heat from the ice weakened the structure of the wood stove and the floor beneath it. Despite the dangers, the inhabitants continued to use the fiery ice for warmth, simply repairing the hole in the floor as needed. This questionable decision seemed to accelerate the deterioration of their living environment. Eventually, the cabin itself crumbled to dust, as if it had given up under the strain of the strange conditions. When the owner returned a month later with his brother, they found the stove 5 feet below ground level, resting at the bottom of a smooth pit. But the legend only deepened. This new hole around the stove appeared to be the subject of a geological study, yet it lacked any clear scientific explanation. The brothers attempted to retrieve the stove using their own strength but failed. It was only with the help of a large crane that they were able to pull it out. But the story didn't end there. The pit where the stove had sunk continued to puzzle and intrigue those who knew of it. The incident of the burning ice and its consequences served as a reminder of how unpredictable and uncontrollable nature can be when it defies the norms. Over time, the story of the burning ice became a cautionary tale about the dangers of dealing with unusual natural phenomena. It highlighted the challenges and risks of trying to harness or coexist with forces that defy expectations. While the immediate dangers were eventually managed, the long-term effects and the true nature of what happened remain topics of discussion among those who witnessed or heard about the events. This experience underscored not only the resilience required to face such uncertainties but also the humility needed when confronting the untamed aspects of nature. As people began to share their experiences with the seal-like creature that emerged from the hole, they described it as a friendly spirit connected to the strange energies of the pit. They spoke of a deep, spiritual connection with the creature, something that seemed to transcend normal